Ever wondered how the world's largest democracy conducts its general elections? From the bustling streets of bustling Mumbai to the lush tea fields of Assam, from the snowy peaks of the Himalayas to the serene backwaters of Kerala, this grand exercise of democracy has a reach unlike any other. Unfolding every 5 years, the Lok Sabha elections showcase the rich and diverse cultural mosaic of India. It begins with the Indian Election Commission's mammoth task of preparing the electoral rolls, a task that involves painstakingly collecting information of eligible voters from all corners of the country. This in itself is an enormous challenge, considering the country's staggering population of over 1.3 billion people. The Election Commission's role doesn't end there. Responsible for maintaining the fairness and sanctity of the elections, they also set up election schedules, manage the logistics of thousands of polling stations, and oversee the counting of millions of votes. The Lok Sabha, or the lower house of parliament, forms the crux of India's democratic machinery. It symbolizes the power of the common citizen, the true essence of a democratic nation. This is where the voices of over 1 billion people find representation. This is where the will of the citizens shapes the destiny of the nation. Let's delve deeper into what exactly the Lok Sabha is. It is the House of the People, consisting of members of parliament or MPs who are directly elected by the adult citizens of India. This body, the embodiment of the people's voice, is a true reflection of the diverse cultures and religions that make up India. From the northern reaches of Kashmir to the southern tip of Kanyakumari, each part of India finds its representation in this house. The process of electing these MPs is a fascinating one, a series of meticulously planned steps that reflect the democratic ethos of India. Every step, from the nomination of candidates to the declaration of results, is steeped in the principles of transparency, fairness, and inclusivity. The Election Commission ensures that every voice is heard, every vote counts. The nomination process begins with political parties and independent candidates filing their candidature. Each party has its own internal method of candidate selection, a process that often reflects the power dynamics within the party. The candidates then launch their election campaigns, traveling across their constituencies, addressing rallies, and meeting voters. It's during these campaigns that the real issues come to light, the concerns of the people that they want their representatives to address. Election day is a spectacle to behold. From sunrise to sunset, millions of people line up at polling stations across the country, ready to cast their vote. The atmosphere is charged with energy, with hope. Each vote cast is an assertion of citizenship, a pledge for a better tomorrow. The counting of votes and declaration of results is a process steeped in tension and anticipation. Every vote is painstakingly counted, and results are declared constituency-wise. It's a day of triumph for some, and for others, a day of introspection. But for the nation, it's a day of reaffirmation of the democratic values it stands for. Comprised of members of parliament or MPs, these individuals are elected through a series of meticulously planned steps that ensure the democratic integrity of the nation. Every step, every decision, every vote counts. Every voice matters. This is the spirit of the Lok Sabha elections in India. This is the essence of the world's largest democracy. This is the story of how the people of India, every 5 years, choose their representatives, choosing their destiny. This is the story of the Lok Sabha elections in India, the story of democracy, the story of India. The starting point of this democratic marathon is the Election Commission of India, or ECI, announcing the schedule for the elections. The ECI, established on January 25, 1950, has the sole responsibility of holding free, fair, and transparent elections in the world's largest democracy. The commission, consisting of a chief election commissioner and 2 election commissioners, is an epitome of the democratic principles that India stands for. The announcement of the election schedule is a significant event, eagerly anticipated by political parties, candidates, and, most importantly, the voters. This critical announcement signifies the commencement of a rigorous democratic process wherein the fate of the country's leadership is put in the hands of its citizens. The schedule contains all the important dates and timelines associated with the elections. The polling dates mentioned in the schedule are the days when millions of Indian citizens from the snowy peaks of Kashmir to the sunny beaches of Kerala step out their voting rights. These dates signify the beginning of an event that is central to the core principles of democracy, the right of the people to choose their leaders. Counting of votes is an intriguing part of the election process. It's a day that witnesses a flurry of activities with all eyes glued to television screens, waiting with bated breath for the results to emerge. The counting of votes is an arduous process carried out under the vigilant eyes of the ECI officials. It's a day when the destiny of millions is determined by the count of these votes. The declaration of results is the culmination of this exhaustive exercise. It's on this day that the verdict of the masses is revealed, bringing to light the chosen representatives who will be bestowed with the responsibility of leading the nation. The Result Declaration Day is a testament to the power and voice of the common in a democracy, making it a truly historic day in the life of the nation. Next up, it's all about the voters. In a democracy, the power to decide the fate of a nation lies in the hands of its citizens. Hence, the process of voter registration is a vital part of the democratic exercise. It gives eligible citizens the right to participate in the electoral process. The ECI ensures that every eligible Indian gets a fair chance to exercise their voting rights regardless of their caste, creed, religion, or gender. To ensure the maximum participation of the public, the Commission conducts numerous voter registration drives across the length and breadth of the country. These drives aim at spreading awareness about the importance of voting and educating citizens about the registration process. The registration process is made simple and accessible to ensure that no eligible citizen is left out. From online portals to registration camps, the ECI leaves no stone unturned in its endeavor to make every vote count. The registration drives are more than just a process. They are a mission to empower every citizen with the power to shape the destiny of their nation. The ECI's tireless efforts to ensure maximum participation depict their commitment to uphold the principles of democracy. The Commission's relentless pursuit to facilitate voter registration reflects the spirit of democracy, where every voice matters and every vote counts. The ECI conducts numerous voter registration drives to ensure maximum participation, embodying the spirit of democracy. Now, we move on to the candidates. This part of the process, the nomination, is a crucial step in the electoral process. It marks the moment when the run for seats in the Lok Sabha, the lower of India's parliament, officially begins. Political parties, which form the backbone of the democratic system in India, as well as independent candidates who represent a diverse set of ideologies and perspectives, enter the fray. At each step of the way, the candidates, both from political parties and independents, are guided by a firm belief in their ability to effect change and make a difference. Their journey begins with the submission of their nomination papers, a crucial document that outlines their eligibility and intention to contest the elections. These papers are submitted to a key figure in the electoral process, the returning officer of the respective constituency. Just like the candidates, the returning officer has a significant role to play in this democratic exercise. The returning officer is entrusted with the responsibility of receiving these nomination papers, submitted within a specific time frame. This time frame, typically set by the Election Commission of India, allows candidates enough opportunity to prepare their nominations and gather the necessary support, while also ensuring that the process remains time-bound and efficient. Once the nomination papers are submitted, the returning officer meticulously scrutinizes them. The scrutiny is thorough and precise, leaving no room for ambiguity or error. It is at this stage that the returning officer ensures that the candidates fulfill all eligibility criteria, as outlined by the Constitution and the Election Commission. This eligibility includes criteria such as age, citizenship, and criminal record, among others. The returning officer's scrutiny is intended to ensure that only those candidates who meet all these stringent criteria are allowed to contest in the elections. But the returning officer's role isn't just limited to ensuring eligibility. This step also includes addressing any objections that may be raised against the nominations. These objections can come from other candidates, political parties, or even ordinary citizens. They might pertain to the candidate's eligibility or the veracity of the information provided in the nomination papers. The returning officer, after hearing the objections and the responses, decides on their validity. If an objection is found valid, the nomination can be cancelled. This essential step maintains the fairness of the process, upholding the spirit of democracy. Following the scrutiny process, a subsequent provision allows candidates the option to withdraw their nomination papers within a certain period. This is a strategic move, used in politics to consolidate votes or in situations where a candidate might have a change of heart or strategy. The withdrawal of nomination is not a decision taken lightly. It can affect the entire electoral race, shifting the dynamics drastically. Once this process, nomination, scrutiny, and withdrawal is completed, the returning officer then takes on the task of preparing the final list of candidates. This list, made public for all to see, marks the official commencement of the campaigning period. It includes the names of all candidates who have successfully navigated the nomination and scrutiny process and have chosen to remain in the race. The preparation of the final list of candidates is a moment of immense anticipation and excitement. It is the moment when the public gets to know who their prospective representatives might be. And with that, the democratic race for the Lok Sabha seats truly begins. Once this process is completed, the final list of candidates is prepared. The heart of the election process is polling. The concept of voting is not a modern one. It has been rooted in human civilization since ancient times, when decisions in the public sphere were made through ballots or a show of hands. Zooming into the 20th century, the introduction of technology into the voting process marked a significant shift. One such technology that has greatly impacted the voting process in India is electronic voting machines, or EVMs. These machines significantly simplified the procedure and increased the level of reliability and transparency. A closer look at the workings of an EVM. EVMs are designed with two main components: the control unit, managed by the polling officer, and the balloting unit, used by the voters. The polling officer activates the balloting unit for each voter who enters the booth, thus allowing them to cast their votes. The votes cast are then stored in the memory of the control unit. The use of EVMs has not only sped up the counting process, but these machines also remove the chances of invalid votes completely, thus ensuring a fair election. These EVMs have proved to be a game changer in the history of the Indian election process, making the process more streamlined and efficient. Another technological gem introduced in the Indian election process is the voter-verified paper audit trail, or VVPAT machines. The introduction of VVPAT machines is an initiative towards bringing transparency into the system. The VVPAT system generates a paper slip every time a voter casts their vote, allowing the voter to verify if their vote has been cast correctly. This paper slip, after being viewed, goes into a sealed box, thus maintaining the secrecy of the vote. The VVPAT machines ensure that there is a physical copy of the vote which can be used for auditing and recounting if necessary. This technology, in a way, bridges the gap between the traditional voting system, involving paper ballots, and the modern electronic voting system, thus making the electoral process more robust and trustworthy. These two significant technological advancements, the EVM and VVPAT machines, play a critical role in the polling process during the Lok Sabha elections in India. But the implementation of these technologies isn't as simple. The polling using EVM and VVPAT machines happens across multiple phases in different constituencies, according to the election schedule. The use of these technologies requires careful planning, testing, and deployment, for which the Election Commission of India has an elaborate process. The first phase involves meticulous planning, where the Election Commission decides the number of machines required based on the number of voters in each constituency. These machines then go through rigorous testing to ensure their functionality, followed by the sealing of the machines in the presence of political party representatives to maintain transparency. The deployment of these machines on the polling day is another mammoth task. The machines are transported under tight security to ensure no tampering occurs. After the polling is over, these machines are stored in strong rooms and are guarded until the counting day. The multiple phases of the election process, the complexity of the technologies used, and the immense manpower involved all contribute to the grandeur and importance of the polling process. It is through this intricate process that the true essence of democracy comes to life, where every vote counts and every voice matters. This polling happens across multiple phases in different constituencies, according to the election schedule. After the polling concludes, it's time for the counting of votes. It is a moment of anticipation and uncertainty, where the fate of the nation hangs in balance. It is the beginning of a new chapter in the annals of democracy. The process of counting votes is a testament to the power of the ballot, the pulsating heart of any democracy. It is an age-old ritual that has shaped the history of nations and continues to do so. The culmination of the voting process is a sight to behold. The ballot boxes, filled with the voices and choices of millions of citizens, are opened. Votes are painstakingly counted one by one, a process that requires great precision and care. Each vote represents a person's voice, their dreams, their aspirations, their trust in a leader, and their hope for a better future. Each vote is a powerful weapon in the fight for change and progression. Inside the counting centers, there is an air of silent concentration. The election officials busy themselves with their task, their brows furrowed in concentration. The echo of their counting punctuates the otherwise silent room. Every so often, an official would raise a hand, signaling that another box has been counted. There are no cheers or applause, just a silent nod of acknowledgement. Before the next box is brought outside, the nation waits with bated breath. The air is filled with the clamor of the media and the tense chatter of the supporters and opponents alike. There's a palpable sense of expectation, excitement, fear, and hope. It is a moment that encapsulates the essence of democracy, the power of choice, the power of the people, and the power to effect change. Beyond the counting rooms lies the political battlefield. Candidates and their respective parties wait in anticipation. Each vote can swing the balance in their favor or against them. The results can validate their hard work and commitment or expose their shortcomings. The counting of votes is not, it's a verdict passed by the people. As the hours pass, the results start trickling in. Some faces light up with joy, while others are clouded by disappointment. Every win and every loss are dissected and analyzed, adding to the collective knowledge of the nation's political landscape. The results of the election are not merely numbers, they are a reflection of the nation's collective consciousness. They reveal the priorities, concerns, and aspirations of the people. They are a mirror that reflects the state of the nation, the issues that matter, and the direction the nation wants to take. Once the results are declared, the formation of the government takes place. The party or coalition that has secured the majority of seats forms the government and selects the prime minister. What follows next is a dance of democracy, a new chapter and a new direction for the nation. It is the dawn of a new era, shaped by the choices made by the citizens, the real architects of the democracy. Finally, the elected MPs take an oath, pledging to serve the people and uphold the Constitution of India, marking the end of the election process and the beginning of their term. This is a moment of pride and responsibility for each member, a culmination of their hard work, dedication, and the faith bestowed upon them by millions of people. The oath of office is not just a tradition, but a solemn promise, a sacred vow to protect the interests of the country and its citizens. Each word of the oath echoes through the Grand Hall, reminding every MP of the heavy responsibility that rests upon their shoulders, the weight of the nation's expectations. Lok Sabha elections are an overwhelming spectacle. It is a democratic exercise, a celebration of the fundamental right to vote, a testament to the power of a single voice amongst a billion. This event is no ordinary one. It is a festival of democracy where every citizen, irrespective of his caste, creed, religion, gender, or economic status, is an essential participant. The preparation for these elections is a meticulous process. It begins with the Election Commission announcing the election schedule. This announcement sets off a flurry of activities across the country. Political parties strategize, campaign trails are charted, and manifestos promising development and progress are drafted. The entire nation plunges into a period of intense political activity, marked by zealous debates, passionate speeches, and frenzied rallies. It is a time when the air pulsates with the spirit of democracy, and the heart of the nation beats to the rhythm of electoral fervor. Candidates from across the country, hailing from different backgrounds, ideologies, and political affiliations, throw their hats in the ring. Each candidate in their respective constituencies engages in rigorous campaigning, reaching out to the masses and seeking their support. The candidates, each with their unique promises and propositions, present the voters with an array of choices, thereby embodying the essence of a multi-party system. When the D-Day arrives, millions of citizens line up at the polling booths, armed with the power of their franchise. There is anticipation, excitement, and a certain degree of responsibility that each voter feels as they cast their vote, effectively participating in the future of the country. Following the voting, begins the complicated but critical process of vote counting. This process is conducted under the watchful eyes of the Election Commission, ensuring fairness and transparency. The results are eagerly awaited by the entire nation as the numbers trickle in, swinging fortunes and sealing fates. Once the results are declared, the elected MPs start preparing for their term, understanding their roles, responsibilities, and the expectations of their constituents. Each MP carries with them the aspirations and hopes of their people, striving to fulfill them to the best of their abilities. To sum up, the Lok Sabha elections are a massive democratic exercise involving millions of voters and candidates, a meticulous process, and a steadfast commitment to democratic values. From the announcement of the election schedule to the oath-taking ceremony of elected MPs, each step is crucial in shaping the world's largest democracy.